Revisiting some of the most controversial VAR decisions. VAR was brought into football with the hope of eliminating controversial decisions from the game, but it's fair to say that its introduction hasn't quite gone according to plan, with many complaining over its inconsistent use and the time it can take to reach a decision. There have been many instances where VAR simply hasn't worked. Some decisions have been more controversial than others, and they will continue to live long in the memory. Join us as we recap some of the most controversial decisions that have occurred since VAR was introduced. Belgian Pro League match creates history as the first match to be replayed due to a VAR error. A Belgian Pro League match between Anderlecht and Genk created history as the match was ordered to be replayed in full due to a VAR error. It is the only time in history where a match has been forced to be replayed due to a VAR error. Despite Anderlecht winning the game 2-1, the controversy came early in the first half, when Genk striker Urasour scored from the rebound of a missed penalty to give his side the lead. The goal would be disallowed due to encroachment, but crucially, VAR seemed to ignore that two Anderlecht defenders had committed the same offense. After the completion of the game, Genk appealed the result, due to the law being misapplied by the VAR officials. After much deliberation, the Belgian FA agreed with Genk's arguments and ordered the fixture to be replayed. Liverpool have goal wrongly ruled out for offside. Tottenham vs Liverpool always seems to produce dramatic moments, and when the two sides met in September of 2023, we may have seen the most dramatic encounter yet. With Liverpool reduced to 10 men early in the first half, Luis Diaz broke the offside trap and fired home a fine finish to give the Reds a surprise lead. With suspicions of offside, the goal was reviewed by the VAR officials, and after a lightning-quick check, the goal was disallowed due to Diaz straying just offside. Although Tottenham would go on to win the game 2-1, the controversy wouldn't stop there. After the game, it was revealed that Diaz was actually onside, and in reaching their verdict, it was discovered that the VAR officials hadn't followed protocols and the offside lines hadn't been drawn. Incensed by the decision, Liverpool wrote to the governing body in charge of referees in anger. They were given an official apology, but the result would end up staying. Juventus fury at late winner being chalked off for offside. 2022-23 was a difficult one for Juventus. Having been docked 10 points for financial irregularities and banned from playing in European competitions, Juventus found themselves in a state of crisis. In need of a morale-boosting victory, Juventus welcomed Salernitana to the Allianz Arena. Trailing 2-0 after a desperately poor first half, Juventus leveled the game deep into injury time. Searching for a winner, the Allianz erupted with joy when striker Arka Melik nodded home a late winner. Whipping off his shirt in delirium, Melik was shown a second yellow card and sent off. The worst would be yet to come, as after a lengthy review, Melik was adjudged to be offside and the late winner was ruled out. With Melik already down the tunnel, Juventus protested that his red card should be rescinded as the goal he celebrated no longer stood. Sticking to his guns, the referee stuck to his original decision and sent off Juan Cuadrado and Juventus manager Max Allegri for their protests. The game would end 2-2. Rodri gives City a helping hand as they capture 2021-22 title. When Everton welcomed Manchester City to Goodison Park late in the 2021-22 season, both teams were in desperate need of 3 points. With City chasing the title and Everton desperately trying to avoid the drop, the game was locked in a stalemate at 0-0. Despite their lowly league position, it was Everton who were pushing for the winner. With the Toffees piling on the pressure, Rodri tried to clear a bouncing ball. Looking to use his chest to control the ball, he misjudged the flight, and the ball ended up striking him on his outstretched arm. With the Blues clamoring for a penalty, VAR looked at the decision and gave the benefit of the doubt to Rodri and the reigning Premier League champions. To rub even further salt into Everton wounds, City would go on to score a late winner. Their 1-0 victory would help them edge Liverpool by just 1 point come the end of the season, and saw them crowned champions once again. Japanese ball mystery. The 2022 World Cup was a great example of how VAR could work. With both referees and VAR widely praised, the only real moment of controversy came when Japan played Spain in their final group game fixture. With both teams needing a win to guarantee their qualification spot for the knockout stages, it was Spain who took the ascendancy thanks to an early goal from Alvaro Morata. Japan, who had beaten Germany early in the tournament, wouldn't be deterred, and early in the second half, netted the all-important equalizer. With the game tied, Japan would go on to shock the watching world, as just 3 minutes later, they edged in front. However, the goal would come in controversial circumstances. With the ball rolling towards the byline, Kaoru Mitoma stretched for the ball and managed to knock it back to Ao Tanaka to bundle home from close range. The Spanish protested that the ball had crossed the dead ball area and that despite some angles supporting the Spanish claims, VAR couldn't prove that the ball had gone out of play and the goal was duly awarded. Japan would go on to win the game 2-1, but would see their World Cup journey ended in the 16th round when they would lose to Croatia on penalties. Although we are talking about controversial decisions, there isn't anything controversial about subscribing to Footy Flicks. Like the video and subscribe for more brilliant football content. Mainz receives penalty when nobody is on the pitch. We have all grown used to VAR decisions taking an age, but an incident which occurred between Mainz and Freiburg in a 2018 Bundesliga match is still one of the most bizarre incidents we have ever seen. With the crucial relegation matchup tied at 0-0 at halftime, both teams made their way to their dressing rooms to receive their halftime team talks. What both teams didn't know is that despite blowing his whistle, referee Guido Winkman was getting his VAR colleagues to check a potential penalty incident. The check would take 6 minutes, before VAR decided that Mainz should receive a penalty courtesy of a Freiburg handball. The problem was, nobody was on the pitch. To save his blushes, Winkman had to summon both teams out of their dressing rooms for the penalty to be taken. It was scored by Pablo de Blasis, before both teams then went back down the tunnel to restart the halftime break. Mainz would go on to win the game 2-0. Manchester United received penalty after full time. If the Mainz vs Freiburg incident was strange, an even stranger incident occurred when Brighton hosted Manchester United just a year later. In what was an action-packed game, the game finished 2-2. After a Manchester United corner was cleared, referee Chris Kavanagh blew for full time. However, there were suspicions that the corner was cleared due to a handball. With the game officially over, Kavanagh was advised to check the monitor and duly awarded United a penalty. Up stepped Bruno Fernandes, who coolly converted his spot kick to give United a 3-2 win. It remains the only case in football history where a goal has been scored after a referee had already blown for full time. Eric Dyer handball brings in rule change. Tottenham makes our list of the most controversial VAR decisions for the second time, but this time the decision would go against them. Leading Newcastle 1-0, the Toon Army had one last chance to try and snatch an equalizer with a free kick outside of the box. Dinked in towards target man Andy Carroll, Carroll's goal-bound effort hit the outstretched arm of Eric Dyer from a point-blank range. Unable to get out of the way, the penalty was awarded, and Newcastle striker Callum Wilson dispatched it with glee. With most of the watching world in disbelief over the penalty being awarded, the PGMOL agreed to relax handball rules to ensure that type of penalty would never be awarded again. VAR denies Manchester City epic Champions League comeback. In 2018-19, Manchester City was regarded as the best team in the world, and many had tipped them for Champions League glory. Drawn against Tottenham in the quarterfinals, many assumed City would steamroller a team many believed were weaker. With Spurs not willing to pay any attention to the noise, they won the first leg at home 1-0, before the two played out one of the best matches in Champions League history. Early in the second leg, City restored parity when Raheem Sterling set them on their way with a fine curling strike. But from there, the tie would turn in an instant, as 2 goals from Heung-min Son put the Spurs firmly in the driving seat. With City needing 3 goals to qualify, they hit back with 2 goals before halftime, and then surged in front thanks to a Sergio Aguero rocket. Despite City looking home and hosed, Spurs showed they wouldn't give up without a fight, and netted their 4th goal of the tie thanks to the hip of Fernando Llorente. With City needing to score again, Raheem Sterling thought he had capped off a memorable night with a well-taken winner. As Pep Guardiola and the Etihad burst into raptures, few saw Turkish referee Cüneyt Çakır consulting with the VAR officials. Unbelievably, it had appeared that in the build-up to the goal, Sergio Aguero had been offside, and the goal was correctly ruled out. With not enough time left on the clock, time ran out for City, and it was Spurs who went on to take their place in the semi-finals.